Hi, this is Joyce Van Setters. Welcome to the Pink Book series, stories about mental health and art. If there's something that resonates with you, I hope you join. Welcome to the Pink Book podcast. I am your host, Joyce Van Setters. I am thrilled to continue to bring you conversations with game changers and innovators who are redefining their success. Today, I have one of our most requested return guests. If you don't know Beth, she is a former TV producer who worked for Warner, NBC, Paramount. She'll tell it, but she has a new project that I'm super excited about because she's also a podcast guest expert, one of the best I know. Beth Nydick, welcome back to the show.
I'm so excited to be here. Thank you so much for having me. I always love our conversations, not only because we get deep fast, right? And that's part of who Joyce is, but also your audience is so engaged and so into what you're doing and who you are. So I'm just happy to be a part of it.
I am so glad you're back because I can't tell you how many emails I've gotten about the podcast
I'm so
we did.
happy.
But I know it's because it was educational and informative, and that's why they want you back.
That's neat.
So I want to talk about this new project that you have going on because I've been watching it all over social media and I'm super impressed by it.
Oh.
Not only because I have a podcast, but because every guest that I have had on that I've pitched, I've told to do this, to use these clips or the reels, whatever, to get monetized. I've told them to use this information. So maybe they'll listen to you.
Maybe. I'm so happy. Well, because we're all podcast guesting incorrectly. Right, we're looking at it, and I'm sure your lovely guests have come and just want to have a conversation with you.
Right.
Instead of thinking about this is a business tool, this is content, this is something I should be using with strategy around it because I should be making money from it. Because I'm tired. I'm honestly.
Go figure.
Right. I'm tired of, I always say, seeing amazing people do amazing things and then not tell anybody. It just doesn't make sense to me. Like, why would we do all of this and then just keep it to ourselves?
I agree. I totally agree. So what is your new project called?
So it's called Mic to Millions, and it's a system. I call it the Profitable Podcast Guest System.
Okay.
That you can implement into your business.
Say that 5 times fast.
I know, I can't. PPGS, right? But it's about really using it as an asset and a business tool and how you're viewing it. I actually had this happen yesterday. I did a talk in a community, and I got a DM afterwards, and this guy that was there, he said to me, I've never heard anything you've said before. But what I took away was talk to the audience, not to the host. Right? I'm kind of talking to you guys. Like I am talking to her, but I'm kind of talking to you guys. And he changed how he was having that conversation. Not only did he feel better about it, the host wants to work with him.
Interesting.
Like
that easy.
It is that easy because when you come on something like this, and I mean a podcast, a stage, an interview, anything you're doing, you have to think about the end user and how they're going to be listening, taking it in, how they can go follow you. Because when I was listening to your podcast, I was walking, right? When I'm listening to you, I'm riding the bike, I'm doing things. I'm not sitting at my desk going, oh, I'm going to look up Joyce now. I have to remember and then get back to my phone later. So when we look at it differently, when we look at it through that lens, we see it as an asset that we have to have strategy around, just like sales, just like marketing, just like visibility should be. But visibility in 90% of the people I talk to isn't.
Interesting. What do you mean by we are doing podcasting wrong or podcast guesting wrong?
People are like, well, I'm just going to have a great conversation and I'm so grateful to be here and thank you. Okay.
Now what?
Right, now what? It's like you just had a conversation without a purpose of what's the CTA? How are you getting people into what you're doing?
Explain CTA for people who don't know
what
that means.
So call to action, right? When I'm in a conversation, I want to say the directions that you need to go find me later.
Yes.
Like you already mentioned my Instagram. So I'm going to play on what you've already said and talk about how in my Instagram, it's all education. And you know what? Just for your audience, because I love you, Joyce. Anyone that DMs me the word Joyce is going to get a special download that I'm only going to give people who listen to this podcast.
Repeat your Instagram one more time.
Beth Nydick, NY Dick. That's my Instagram.
Our favorite. That's probably why you were called back.
Right, but it's not just this like content that you're making. It's not like you're sitting in front of your computer and you're doing a talking head video. Right? It's allowing people to see your digital personality.
Okay.
Rather than your, and this is the word I hate and I want to kill, thought leadership, which means effing nothing.
Okay.
Because you're not a thought leader. You're
Right.
a personality.
Right.
And think about the people that you like and the people who've been in the seat.
Mm-hmm.
They're personalities who have digital storefronts
Right.
or digital marketplaces. They're not thought leaders because that doesn't mean anything. And we're convinced that we need to be thought leaders.
Right.
And like an old white man told us we were supposed to do that.
Right. In our area.
And we're done.
Right. Of expertise.
Yeah, exactly.
Right.
You need to be a leader in that. But the way people fall in love with you is getting to know you and who you are.
Mm.
And like you, I use my jerseyness
Love that.
all the time.
What would you say the first thing, so without delving into what they need to do to get into your program, what would you say the first thing is that someone should do when they immediately leave a podcast as a guest?
You should be starting before you leave the podcast.
Okay,
So
interesting.
when we booked this, I posted about it.
You did, okay.
I did video this morning about coming here. I actually did a Get Ready With Me video.
Did you? Okay.
And so
I've been traveling all day, so I didn't see
right.
anything.
No, I haven't posted it yet because
Oh,
I want the video that we're gonna do B-roll.
Got it.
And then I'll connect I'll make a reel out of it. Like here
Okay.
I got ready and I was with Joyce and I took a photo. We'll have the whole thing.
Right.
So it's before.
Everybody get their pencil and paper
right.
out.
So it's before the episode ever comes out.
Okay.
Right. So when next time you book a podcast, tell your audience. Put it in your email. Make a post about it. Put it on all your social media channels.
Mhm.
Let your audience get excited for what's to come. So when the episode does come out and you and I do a live, the morning it comes out to promote it, my people are already expecting it to come.
Got it. Got it. Makes sense.
Instead of, I did a podcast and your audience is like, oh, okay. Like, why should we care?
Right.
But I'm going to tease things that we talked about, things that I offered.
Mhm.
What most people do is, I'm so honored. Why should the audience care that you're honored?
Right.
How about, I said 3 things that I've never talked about before. Make sure you listen to the Pink Book. What's going to attract people and what are people going to be into action? They're going to be like, oh, that sounds interesting. I'm so honored. Maybe my kids will listen.
Yeah, that could be a text. I'm so honored.
Right. It makes no sense. So it's booking. When you book it, let us know.
Okay.
When you do it, let us know. When it comes out, let us know. And then why are you not sharing it afterwards?
Got it.
Right. When we
Got
did
it.
our last podcast was
Mhm.
not probably, I know this because I've been doing the stats. I shared it 6 times in the next 6 months.
Wow.
All of your guests should be doing that.
Yeah.
It makes I'm like, I need to create some sort of handbook for all of my guest friends to
Definitely.
hand out.
Yes.
But I continue to share it over and over and over again. And unfortunately, what most people do is they share it once in their story and they kind
they're
of
done.
move on. And how frustrating for you.
Yeah. Well, and I go back and forth with, I'm not going to beat up anybody for not sharing my podcast or sharing their podcast. But my number one thing, which is why I think is so important what you're doing, and I love what you're doing because I just always pitch people with, this is a chance for you to tell your story. That's what the
Right.
Pink Book podcast is about. Someone comes on and they tell their story. And then your story, everybody has a story, and everybody's story is super interesting. It's not just, what's on your Instagram or what's on your Facebook. You're sitting here with me with this super interesting story that people want to know about. You have an audience too.
Right. And they want to know, they want to be in on what you're doing.
Exactly.
This actually came from when I had my first national TV spot. It was on Dr. Oz.
Nice.
At that time, I was in the health field and I was
Yes.
making avocado deviled eggs with him.
Yes.
But I parlayed that into working for him for 2 years, meaning I was on his blog, I was on his social media, I was in his emails. But then I used that content to get myself a book deal. And that's why I have my cocktail book, Clean Cocktails.
Perfect.
But I used my media appearances to leverage that and amplify it to get other things that I want.
Right.
So now I just do it with all the podcasts I'm on. This podcast, I've been on a couple of big podcasts recently.
I noticed. I saw.
Yeah,
Congratulations.
working it. But they have afforded me bigger opportunities, bigger stages. If I didn't do anything with them or have a strategy on how I want to use them, then they would just sit there.
Exactly.
And my question is to everyone listening who just does who I've shamed in the last 5 minutes. Why?
We love you.
We love you. Well, this is all Jersey love.
Yeah.
This is all from
Exactly.
like, I just
That's
want
how it
everyone to
comes from.
win. And it's kind of like you're doing 10% of it.
Right.
Let's get the other 90% there so you can actually make it work for you. And people work with me because of strategy.
Right.
Right? It's all about the strategy. Like you, I've been doing digital since like 2007.
Yeah.
And we've been in it. We understand how it works.
Absolutely.
And they're not educating themselves on what podcasting is. They think it's like a Zoom interview.
Yeah.
It's not.
Right.
And it's not at all.
Right. Or just to hang out. That was fun. I'll have some people say when they left, and I'm like, that was an amazing story, actually. And then I'll post a clip because I'll go in and do my own clips.
Right.
I'll post a reel, and they will say, I had someone send me back a DM and say, that was the most amazing reel out of our whole thing. I don't even remember saying that. And I'm like, I pulled that from your personality.
Right. So hopefully you have less work when it comes to me.
Yeah.
But.
Oh, I'm sure. Explain to me, because I saw a post that you did about the different types of podcasts, and I never really thought about that. Again, this podcast is for people to come in and tell their stories, innovators. Everyone has an audience.
Right.
Explain to me about the different type of podcasts. I haven't heard anybody talk about that.
Well, I was looking at because people were asking me, how do I find the right podcast for my brand? And the question I asked myself is, how do you find the right podcast for your goals? So where are you in your business? What season are you in?
Interesting.
Are you in a sales season, an awareness season, a building credibility season? And what kind of podcasts go together with that?
Okay.
So if you want to have sales, then you want to be talking to your ideal customer. So I would do a niche podcast. Really, who is that person who would buy this product? Who should I be talking to?
Right.
I was recently on the Freelancer podcast, which is Emily Regan's podcast.
Okay.
She talks to marketing assistants. So when I was on that podcast, I talked about my product to help marketing assistants get paid more by their brand owners because they could do the visibility piece for them.
Interesting.
That got me sales. Right, when I'm talking about the Mike to Millions,
easy.
Right, the Mike to Millions program, which is for service providers who have a product and something to say. Then I'm on business coaching podcasts, I'm on marketing podcasts, but those are all niche podcasts.
Got it.
When I want awareness, it's authority podcasts. Who is an authority in the space and has an engaged audience?
Right.
Because we need that too. And where can I go on and talk a little bit about what I do and who I am, educate them a little bit, and tell them who, right? Give them a little bit of my personality.
Yeah.
Sort of like an overall, but not get too deep on me. It's more about the business, right? So that's an authority podcast, and that's for awareness. And then credibility is here, babes. This is a credibility podcast.
You heard it first.
Right? This is a storytelling podcast. This is for people to not only know what I'm about, who I serve, and what I do, but to me to like lean into my digital personality so you know that I'm the person for you.
Love that.
Instead of, I'm going to go on a podcast and not have an intention.
Right.
Like it's connected. What's the visibility goal? Where should I be? What platform should I be? People are so focused on the stages they should be on or the social media platforms. Like, no. Look at what the podcasts that you can be on.
Right.
And everyone has a friend who has a podcast.
Right.
Like you can start anywhere.
Absolutely.
Because no one watching or listening should be like, well, I can't do that. Yes, you do. You know somebody.
Right.
Right. So this is permission to ask for it.
Right.
And then think about where you're going with it. And it's not like that immediate goal, right? Because they're not going to come out right away usually, right? It's what's that next quarter goal and putting that together. So when I say you need to have a visibility strategy alongside your marketing strategy and your sales strategy, I mean it because this is, again, a business tool.
Got it. That's amazing. How would you say, and I know the answer to this, but if someone wants to pitch, the answer for me anyway,
right.
If someone wants to pitch, because I've had people pitch to me to be on the podcast, and I've pitched to people to be on the podcast. I also have someone who does some of the pitching work for me. Again, when I do my own pitching, I make sure that they know that they're coming on for their story. Right. Yes, I'm going to benefit from it, but they're coming on to tell their story, and they can utilize that. And everyone I tell that, they're like, that's amazing. That's exactly what I need right now. That type of advertisement.
Yeah.
So how would you say, or what suggestion would you give someone who's looking to get on a podcast if they're looking to pitch?
Do it right now. But thinking about, we're friends, so I was going to come on this podcast,
right.
But you don't think I spent 4 or 5 hours listening and watching and seeing what you were doing? That's the first step. Because
interesting.
Just somebody might want to be on here, but it might not be the right thing.
Right.
But it also might not be the right thing for them.
Well, that's the issue that I run across when someone pitches me. So
right.
I'm glad that you said that.
So what kind of people who are pitching you is not the right one?
Well, I had someone pitch me, the amazing lady. She owned a hair salon in New Jersey. And she was saying, I had my salon for I said, can you tell me a little bit about yourself? I always go through that. I've had my salon for about 5 years. I started it with a friend, and then she quit. And now we do blonde tips or something like that. And I was like, so I'm looking for people who are kind of like redefining their success. Like, how did you start out? And she said, well, I went to beauty school. And again, no shade, no disrespect. I think that's amazing.
Right.
But I'm looking for a deeper story. When I say redefining success, if you've watched my podcast, the people that come on here have started from something, could be nothing, low, then they've had something tragic happen and then they figure out how to come out of it on their own.
Right.
Or they started their own company, they started their own business, like you said, utilizing what they've done before.
Right.
So they're redefining their success. And that's why, again, I love to have you on here saying that you're a podcast expert, because I don't hear that at all, you know? And people are podcast guesting wrong.
They are.
So the wrong type of pitch for me
Right.
is just...
But it's also the wrong show for her.
It absolutely
Right.
is.
She wants...
But that's what I led with. I'm
clients.
glad you said that, because
Yeah.
I don't need to say to her, you know, I'm not interested. I said, I just don't think this show is right for your brand.
Yeah, and what your goals are, right? You want more people to come in and get blonde
That's what
tips.
she wanted.
This isn't going to work, so go find Hoboken girl, a
Right.
Long Branch girl. You know,
Right. Or
there's a
just
woman-
post more about it. I looked on her
Yeah.
Instagram. There was nothing about blonde tips. And I said, you told me that, but I don't see anything about that on your page. And she was like, oh.
That's like the shadow side of it,
Yeah.
right? I really focus on talking about what you're doing up front, but in the background, if I'm on here and then you come to my social media and I'm talking about record players, then you're
Weird.
right. It's going to be weird. It's going to be off. It's not going to right. It's not going to be cohesive.
Right.
But understanding where you're going and where you should be, and then yes, let's talk about story. Having a story to go with it that's compelling.
Absolutely.
Because when I'm listening to a podcast, but not, of course, not yours, other people's podcasts, you know, if I'm not engaged in the first 5 minutes, I'm out.
You know.
Like, I'm not going to listen.
Yeah.
Because most people, this is what happens. The host reads their bio and they welcome them and they're like, oh my God, I'm so happy to be here. And then they're like, so tell us about yourself. And
Do that again. No, I'm joking.
oh my God. And then the host will say something like, well, tell us about yourself. And you're like, well, I help small business owners, blah. Like, who cares?
Right.
Right? What did I start with? My national TV spot.
Yep.
Right? So what's so
I'm in.
interesting that's going to make people listen to the conversation?
Right.
How are you dropping in what you've said? And if you listen to my podcast interviews, I often talk about how I've strategically placed things in the interview. So if you've been listening, I've said Mike to Millions 3 times. I told you who it's for. I told you what it is. And I told you what it's about. Without being
Very
like, you should listen to
strategic.
my project.
Right.
Right? Like, there's got to be some, what's the right word? Like,
Some
suave,
engaging. Yeah,
some,
something.
like,
Yeah.
you know,
Is
to
there
it.
someone that someone specific? What's the specific crowd that your new program is for? Is it a program? Is that what we're calling it?
It is, but it's a system.
A system.
Because I
love
find that it's a solution to a problem. It's a solution to everyone podcast guesting
Yeah.
and not having any ROI.
Got it.
So if you have something to say and you have something to sell and you're a service provider, then it's for you.
Okay.
Because we're going to teach you how to use your story, your platforms, everything you've built and who you are to think about podcast guesting differently, and then instituting the system that I teach. So every time, this is what I say, make 10K every time you step up to the
There
mic.
you go. Love that.
It's
And
fun.
for someone sitting back right now saying, okay, well, I was a guest on a podcast, let's say 6 months to a year ago.
Awesome.
Can they still utilize that?
Yes, 100%. And no TBTs. Like, that's the worst thing for me. Don't do
What
that.
is a TBT?
Like Throwback Thursday.
Oh,
like
God.
I don't care when it was. As
Right.
long as it's still relevant to what you're doing, post it. And post it today, post it 3 weeks from now, 6 weeks from now, 9 weeks from now. Like, keep posting it, because 3 reasons. Not everyone sees it. People need to see it more than once. And it gets you in the habit of sharing your information.
Yeah, and share it differently. It
Oh.
doesn't have to be the exact
We
same
share it
reel.
differently.
Dress it up. You know what I mean? I do
Yeah.
that all the time with mine, and I'll even have people say, "Oh my God, when did you do that?" And I'm like, "That's the same one you liked last week. It's just dressed up differently."
And for permission-wise, think about it this way. When you go on Netflix, they change the cover art.
Yes.
If the cover art's not working, they change it. So to see if they test it,
They do that.
and so why aren't you doing the same thing?
You're right.
Right, like, we love your face, but like
Yes.
different
You're
different
right.
things, the best thing that you can do for a podcast is post it and then do a face to camera.
Yeah.
Then talk about it. Talk about the experience. Talk about being there. Because your audience, yes, wants to see you on stage, but they also want to be like, what's she about?
Right.
What is she doing afterwards?
Right.
I always say it this way, like, people want to know if you drink coffee or matcha.
Yeah. Well, I always say, I want people to watch my podcast and say, I want to hang out with her.
Yes. I want people to be a little scared.
Just a little.
Just like a little. And I mean, I say that funnily, but not also.
Yeah.
Because I'm known for making you do hard things.
Got it.
That's what my clients, I cried this week because I got 6 testimonials from my clients because I just finished a
Wow.
cohort.
Nice.
Every testimonial was like, you changed my life. You made me think different. But they were all like, you made me do hard things and you scared the crap out of me, and thank God you did.
And you changed that mindset in them.
Changing the mindset, because I come to it, and so do you, and you
Yeah.
taught me this a
Oh,
long time ago
absolutely.
as well. Like, why not me?
Yeah.
Why not you do this?
Exactly.
Right? Because a lot of people would tell themselves somebody else should do it. I'm not Joyce. How could I do this?
Right.
Instead of like, why not me?
Right.
Right,
You have something to say it.
Everyone has something to say, and I was like, put a little Jersey in you, be a little bold.
Love that.
Right? Well, I didn't realize how much I'm culturally Jersey.
Really?
No, I really did. Because like you, I work with women and men from across the country.
Yeah.
And my Midwest people are like a little like, oh my gosh.
Yeah.
And they lead in, or they'll be like, I pretended I was from Jersey, Beth.
Really?
Yeah.
That's
it's
so
a
funny.
different sensibility, and it's a different
absolutely.
set of like being bold. You never see those TikToks where there's this is my favorite. There's a girl and she's yelling. She's like, I'm not angry. I'm from Jersey.
Yes.
And then she says all these things.
Yes. And when I saw that, I actually thought of you.
Like born and bred. I live here. My kids are grown up here.
Yeah.
But it's given me that permission to just be me, to say what I think. And I also have 25 years of media training.
Yeah.
Like you said, my first job was at The Tonight Show with Jay Leno, MTV, NBC, Warner Brothers. Like I've worked at all the places. And all it is having a story that connects to someone's guts. So if you can make me feel something, and I don't care if it's anger or love, like
something, a
DM
feeling.
me to hate me.
Yeah.
That's great too.
Right.
Right? But if you're not making anybody feel anything, your business is not going to succeed.
Interesting. I love
Just
that.
not. You make people feel happy. You make people feel seen. You make people feel wonderful. Right? Or, there's plenty, probably in this building podcasts are done, you make me feel weird, you make me feel frustrated, you make me feel bad.
Right.
Entertainment, which is media, and podcasts are media. People think they're not.
Yeah.
But they're really
That's
entertainment media.
Yeah.
If you're not making the viewer feel anything, then they're going to go away. But if you make them feel like, oh, I need to know this person, then they're going to go to your Instagram, your email list, get into your funnels, and buy your programs.
Yep. We do it ourselves. So I always tell people that you have to think about exactly what you're saying. If you're a person that does that yourself, then people are doing it to you too.
Yeah. Think about the people that you want to emulate or that you follow. Like when people initially work with me, they get a workbook.
Okay.
And part of the questionnaire is, who do you follow? What do you watch? And then I make them.
That's interesting.
And I say make them because you have to fill it. You have to do all the work to get to figure out what the right thing is to say on the platform. What are the part of their personalities that are engaging for you? Why do you like this person? I just started watching Scandal again, Olivia Pope. Why do I like Olivia Pope? She's badass.
I wonder.
Right? That's why I like, and she figures it out, and she's in control, and she's 3 steps ahead.
Yeah.
But not everyone connects to Olivia Pope.
Mm-hmm.
It's new on Netflix. That's why I'm watching it.
Yeah. You're too funny.
Right.
I love that. That's great. And so what else do you got going on?
I actually am producing and hosting my own late night talk show.
Let's talk about it.
I'm so
Let's
excited.
talk about it. I'm in.
It's called Digital After Dark.
Love that.
Live studio audience, and it's I call it. This is how I build it. It was Call Her Daddy meets Watch What Happens Live for digital entrepreneurs over 40.
That's amazing.
Well, because I love Alex Cooper.
Mm-hmm.
She's done as an entrepreneur. She's done amazing things, but I'm not really interested in who she slept with in the bathroom.
Right.
Right, but who's talking to us?
Right.
There aren't a lot of people that aren't talking about menopause.
Right.
I don't need to talk. I can talk to you when we're having coffee or a cocktail. Like I don't need to do that. So I wanted to have a platform for women like us who are entrepreneurs, who are digital personalities, to talk about us and what we're into and what we're doing, and not our businesses.
I love this.
Because like I have a girlfriend who is a copywriter, and she said to me, "All I ever do is talk about copy. No one knows I went to Harvard and I'm a trained actress." And I was like, well, then come on the show and we're going to do improv.
Tell your story.
Right? I have another guest who danced with Baryshnikov.
Okay.
You don't think I bought tutus already off Amazon? It's
Did you really?
I did. I'm just going to make a fool of myself. We're going to have such a good time. But it was really about allowing my friends to come on, and you're going to, of course, come on.
Absolutely. And
really just kind of like be us and be silly. In the intro, when I'd send you the email, it literally says, "This is if you're prepared to have a conversation with me that feels like we're 3 cocktails in, but we're sober, then let's go."
That's
because that's what the audience really wants,
Yeah.
right? They want that That's why Love Island's so popular.
Yeah.
That's why the Housewives are so popular.
Absolutely.
They want behind the screen and
Yep.
behind the scene,
Yeah.
right? Of like, I'm this great business owner, or like, I'm this mom of 2. My kids are graduating. I'm starting to freak out.
Right.
Like, let's have those
no
conversations.
idea what's next. Yeah.
Right? Or I have a friend. Her name is Jen Polt. She's the Gloss World is her Instagram.
Okay.
She has 150,000 followers, and I'm always calling her for like, does this look good? What is this outfit? This new thing? You're right, for lifestyle and makeup and hair and fashion. Like, I want her to come on and like raid my closet and like give me like that girlfriend
That's
experience.
Pretty cool, Beth. I like this.
I'm excited. I have another
How
client.
did you come up with this?
It was, well, I've always worked in talk shows.
Right.
And I was really trying to figure out what I wanted to do next and what I wanted to say next. And I wanted to say all of my digital friends are not just about their businesses. They're about so much more. And when we get together, we have such a good time.
Right.
So let's have that good time and show other people, because not everyone has access to other people in their area. Like I have clients who are like, I'm the only digital entrepreneur in my whole town.
Interesting.
They don't live on the coast, obviously.
Got it.
Right?
Yeah.
And they're lonely.
Seriously.
And when I started telling them what I was doing, my girlfriend Cassie was like, "Oh, I'm going to feel like I'm in the room, because we are going to have a studio audience. It's going to be like a big party."
That's pretty cool.
And I wanted to bring in the strategy of what I've always been talking about.
Right.
Is like showing off who you are on a deeper level in your business, so that it doesn't actually matter what you're selling. It matters how you're making people feel. And for me, I've been a speaker since I was 16.
Yeah, you have no problem.
I want to go back to doing that. To be a little woo, my human design talks about like creating a space for community to be themselves.
Right.
And I keep getting these messages to like create this community. To be honest, I don't want to be like the leader of a community, but I'd rather create the space so people can kind of come together and do that.
Yeah.
For women over 45, really. I said 40, but as I'm going,
we're taking it up a little bit.
Yeah, I'm 52. Like
we're
my
the
kids
same
are
age.
right. I know, but like our kids are out leaving. It's hard to make friends.
Right.
Right. So let's have a place where we can all come together, because the other part of that, and I know we've had this conversation too, like when you're an entrepreneur, you're different.
Yeah.
Like I love my friends who aren't in the space, but it's a different kind of
totally
conversation,
different.
right? Because what you're doing and what I'm doing is like I call it personal development on crack. Because you really like to show up like this, to do what you're doing.
Oh, it is. It's totally. I always relate it to. I grew up on a military Air Force brat, and when my parents got divorced, we started going to public schools, and I couldn't have a conversation. When you're in the military, and you every kid that you're surrounded with is in the military, there's a certain standard. You only go to military base parties. I couldn't have a conversation with someone in public school. I'm like, you have no idea what I'm talking about.
Exactly.
So it's the same thing.
It's the same thing. The struggles are different.
Yeah.
The what you can create is different. And I had a lot of these messages is like shine brighter, and my shine brighter is shining bright on all of us.
Like it.
I would love for this show, and I'm going to put it out there because you know how I feel about that.
Put it out
right?
there, Mama.
I would love this to be a proof of concept, to attach somebody like a Paige DeSorbo, get it on Hulu or Netflix, and like executive produce it, right? Use it to see what it could be like, because I think the next
and actually
wave,
a big fan of Paige, so. Yeah.
Oh, you see? I just bought my Daphne.
Everything, yeah.
My Daphne pajamas, I just bought them.
Did you?
I did. So I'm putting it out there. Right? I think that the next wave of entertainment is going to not be Shark Tank or elevator pitch, not about getting money or selling our product, but actually what digital entrepreneurship looks like, what it can be, and to inspire the next generation of digital entrepreneurs.
That's amazing. That's amazing.
I'm excited
You always
about
have
it.
so much going on. I love it.
Well, like you, I can't not.
Yeah, I know. Listen to me. I'm talking. Anything else?
No, that's really what I'm working on. Yeah, I'm going to spend the summer with my kids. They'll both graduate college by this time next year.
Wow. Oh my God.
So it's next chapter.
When I met you, they were babies.
Babies.
Wow.
Babies, I know.
That's insane. And we still look so good. What's up with that?
Digital entrepreneurship.
Oh yeah, it's being an entrepreneur, exactly. If you had a 9-to-5, you ain't going to look this good.
No. It's testing yourself.
Yes.
It's pushing yourself. It's wanting to be the next level of yourself.
You're absolutely right.
And the last thing I want to talk about is like, this is all about creating your own possibility of success. Nobody's going to come save you. No person's going to come save you. No marketing assistant's going to come save you.
That's
no
right.
VA or podcast producer. What you create for your business and what you create for yourself, that's how you're going to be successful. So if anything is possible, then everything is possible. And we can continue with that idea of why not you, and let's see what everyone else can create for themselves that's watching.
I love that. And I'm going to piggyback that with one statement.
Yeah.
Whether you believe you can or you can't, you're right. That old saying.
So
Right?
true.
Beth, thank you so much for coming here again.
Oh my gosh.
Thank you so much for being so informative and educational to my audience.
Of course.
Every single time you come, someone gets a gem that they can do something with, and I hope everybody's going to make $10K per podcast.
Yeah.
Every one of my guests that we're on.
Yeah, $10K every time you step up to the mic.
Yeah, so we're going to put in where they can sign up for your program.
Yep.
We're also going to add in the first episode that Beth was on in case you didn't see that, because that was very educational too, and
Yep.
the reason why everybody wanted her back. I also want to let you know that I'm still on Apple, on Spotify, and on YouTube. And if this type of stuff is something that resonates with you, subscribe, join, because the best is yet to come. And lastly, if you want a little sneak peek on the end of what guest is going to be on next or what podcast is coming out next, you have to go to thepinkbookpodcast.com and join my newsletter.